Clinic owners, if you are feeling stuck in terms of your clinic is not growing fast enough, there is more fires to fight, the team is not performing as well as you want them to, your revenue is plateaued, this video will fix things once and for all, I promise you. Hey guys, my name is Stefan, I'm the founder of Practice Peak, and in today's video I want to show you a concept that I learned from a mentor of mine, which all of you will know. I'm not going to mention the name, but the concept is called the 3 Ds. And this simple but crazy effective model will show you how, if you follow this framework that I'm going to teach you, it will solve 99.9% of your business problems. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. I hope you stick to the end, because you have to put the whole frame together rather than treating it as separate parts. This is a system, and this system will help you increase your retention rate with teams that you hire, will have higher performing members of staff, will have happier patients, will affect your bottom line revenue, and ultimately have a bigger impact on the community and the clinics that you are operating. But before we talk about the video, we need to establish what the problem is. And the problem with most clinic owners when they feel stuck is because they find it very difficult to be in the mindset of a business owner. They're still an operator. And this is very challenging. You know, if you run a company like Apple or Google or Microsoft, it's impossible to do that. It's physically impossible. If we have a small practice of 1, 2, 3, 4 members, if you have a small team of, I don't know, let's say even 10 people, that's actually considered quite big in the space of clinic owners in chiropractic. You are the biggest bottleneck of the business. And that's going to sound really painful to a lot of you to hear me say this, but I had to accept it as a business owner before I figured this out of how to provide my team with these ways of operating in order for me not to have to be there all the time and for my business to not just survive, but actually thrive. So I think this is a good opportunity for you to get a pen and paper out and or if you're writing on your phone, make some notes, because you're going to kick yourself in the backside once you understand how simple this is, but that doesn't make it easy to implement, okay? We have this huge community of like-minded clinic owners who meet every single week in my private community, and these are the things we'll go extra granular on. But in today's video, or if you listen to the podcast, you can still have a huge impact. Now, this framework doesn't show you just how to run a small business. This framework will show you how to scale, and actually it's the only way you can scale. So if you're a chiropractor on your own with maybe 1 CN, maybe you've just done your first or second hire, good, because this can be implemented really quickly and easily in your model, in your systems. But this concept that we're going to talk about today is what we call evergreen. It means it doesn't change depending on what the market does or what Facebook ads are performing or what this month is looking like in terms of revenue. No, this concept is evergreen. It means it doesn't change. It doesn't change. And also what's even more important is it works if you're a small business, a big business, you have more than 1 clinics, if you're an osteopath, physio, chiropractor, it doesn't matter. I want you to guys understand that this concept that we'll discuss in a minute and dissect works regardless. And the problem is a lot of chiropractors, a lot of practice owners are stuck in this operational loop. They kind of do the marketing, they do the cleaning, they do the service delivery, and it's just a loop, and they just don't know how to escape, which basically means that they don't have this, which is time. They just have no time. And this is the kind of person that would always say, oh, I'm just busy. I'm just too busy to even think about this. The only way they can escape the loop is if they start to think differently. Busy doesn't equate to effective. Effective doesn't equate to efficient. You can be efficient and still not effective, right? So I need you to start thinking a little bit more logically about business, because it's the only way it can free up more time so you can build a better business, so you can have more scale and more impact. That's why we do these videos, right? So the solution is the framework that top business owners use, not just in the chiropractic space. And without these, scaling a business is virtually impossible. Oh, I haven't figured out a way to do it. So I'm not saying this is my way. This is borrowed from many different mentors and coaches I've had in the past, many different mindset and mastermind groups I'm part of. But the 3 Ds are as follow. Remember, the concept is called 3 Ds, and the first D stands for document. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that if I'm building a true business. And that is actually true even if you're just starting now. In fact, it's more important to do it now than when you're a staff of 10, because by the time you have staff of 10, it's all about removal and simplifying. It's not about, people think it's about adding more complexity. It's not. It's about making things more simple. We have 5 clinics. Each clinic has between 12 and 15 members of the team. We serve thousands of patients, and this is being replicated now because I teach other clinics how to do it. This isn't just me reading something from a textbook. This is me applying this Monday to Saturday every single week with my team. Document. Now, I don't want you to think about a training manual that just collects dust in a corner of your staff room. No, these days are gone. We need to create a living organizational system. Think of like a forest, right? And in the forest, you might have a banana tree. And the banana tree looks a certain way, it presents a certain way, and you can recognize it because it has certain characteristics and it follows a certain recipe. It's very different from a pineapple tree, and the fruit is different. So when it comes to documenting, come up with an ecosystem that does 2 things. Number 1 is allows you to constantly update it and make sure that once it's recorded, it can be multiplied many times after. And an example of that is what we call SOPs. If you don't know this term and you're part of my mastermind, I'm kicking you out because you know how obsessed we are about creating standard operating procedures. That means that if I'm doing day 1 script, this could be your new patient consult, there will be certain things that we say and we do in order to get a certain result. The more data we have, the more this SOP is more solid, which means if I've done 10 day 1s and I think I'm an amazing chiropractor and everyone is starting care, maybe you are, but maybe you don't have enough data because the next 10 patients might not start with you or might not get the same results. We have thousands of pieces of data because we have clinics and we collect all this stuff and we make decisions based on data. And I know that if I say something in day 1 and if I do this consultation in a certain way, I know that the outcome of my day 2 is very predictable. Then if I do my day 2, which we call the ROF, and I do a certain thing, I'm going to get exactly the same result. The point of this exercise is for us to know how to document and how to create SOPs. So the first thing I want you guys to do is to think, do I have a living library of SOPs for everything that I do in my business? And you might want to separate that from CA's perspective, from associates' perspective, from whatever, management's perspective, and so on and so forth. For the CAs, you might want to have, what's my cancellation policy? What's my DNA policy? How do I take payments? How do I schedule plans? From an associate perspective, there's a million and one things you can do, but I mean, something that you can probably work for 6 months at least. I did. It's called the patient journey. We call it the perfect patient journey. And that is a collection of systems that tells me if I use this SOP to teach some of my team members, they're going to get the same result as me. But the first step of this 3Ds process is to document. One of the best, most effective and easiest way to document is to use a system like Loom, screen record a document you've created, and you might literally go, step 1, a patient calls. Step 2, patient wants to cancel. Step 3, ask for reason for cancelling. Step 4, inform that they might lose loyalty points if they cancel. Therefore, suggest speaking to the chiropractor as a complimentary checkup. Step 5, send us an email and we'll get back to you. That is one very clear document on exactly what to do based on what the patient says if they want to cancel an appointment. There's a million things you can work on, guys. And that is why business is so exciting, because every single day you should be making your business 1% better, 1% more effective. But this is just to document. So the idea here is to find a way to create SOPs. In my online community, we have a course on how to measure your metrics and how to make SOPs, and people find it extremely valuable. I can think of 2 or 3 private clients that completely changed their business because once they started documenting, it led them to step 2, which we'll talk about in a minute, which led them to step 3, which led them to something we call freedom. They have freedom to buy back their time and work on the business rather than being stuck in this loop that we talked about, which does not give you time. Think about your business. How are you documenting stuff? Because the second D Once I have documented it, it's to actually demonstrate. Once I know that I have created a specific document, by the way, it doesn't have to be a video format. It can literally be a piece of paper that you print out and you give to every single team member. I don't recommend that because there's lots of AI tools and technology that you can utilize to help you with that. But it's something to think about. Next up is demonstrate. You cannot expect your team to perform at a high level if they've never seen what great actually looks like. I'm going to repeat this. You cannot expect your team to perform at a certain standard, or especially a very high standard, if they haven't seen what great looks like. I'm going to show off here, but before I finished practicing, I was converting at 90% from report to committing to a plan, committing to some sort of financial commitment for that plan. And I had close to 100, I think it was 95 to 97% from going from re-exam. So people that completed the re-exam, 9.5 of them went on to maintenance, but committed to maintenance, not they just decided to book as they go, because we don't count that as a conversion. That's pretty good. And yes, I maybe am lucky in certain traits that I have that I connect with people, but also I worked my butt off to understand scripts, to learn them, to adapt them to my own being, to have enough pattern recognition, to go and get lots of clients myself, to then learn and practice and really understand what makes a difference in patient management. And it wasn't just my clinical skills or my adjusting skills. It was a lot more than that. And what that led to is it led to a level of standard that if a new associate comes in and I say to them, this is how you could be after 5, 6, 7 years, and I expect you to be, because it's a recipe and I'm going to teach you the recipe, you just need to practice, then they know what great looks like. There is a certain path. And that's why I always say to people, coaching, consulting, mentorship is the easiest way for you to get from where you are to where you want to be, because those people have walked the walk. That's why you have to be really, really, really mindful of how you choose your mentors, because I don't want to speak to someone who's been divorced 3 times on relationships and how to build a great relationship with a partner. I don't want to speak to someone who's overweight telling me how to lose weight and get in shape. Even if the information they tell me is right because they've read it in a textbook, it's different when you apply it to your personal life. So that's why I believe every single one of you, regardless if you are still in your business, practicing or not practicing and mentoring your team, you've got to some level, you've got to have, at some point in your career, got to a level of greatness that you can pass on to the next person. But that's demonstrate. So demonstrate comes under many different things. And after you've documented the process, and let's say you have an SOP for whatever, day 1 or day 2, then it's time to demonstrate it. And demonstration is you showing them how it's done. The easiest and most effective technique that I found in mentoring is role play. Just obsessing about role play, daily, weekly, monthly. And we teach our guys in the mastermind how to do that, but we actually even launched, as of probably 2-3 weeks ago now, live role play classes. So one person is the doctor, one person is the patient, and I might be giving feedback and literally stopping people and then saying, great, that sounded amazing. Now do it again. Great, that sounded great. Now say it this way. That did not sound right. Why don't you change it this way? Ask this question instead and see what response you get. That constant feedback loop is extremely, extremely, extremely important in this phase of you systemizing your business. So role play also comes with instant feedback. And if you're not getting the feedback loop right in your business, you might as well not have systems, because without feedback, people don't know if they're on the right track or the wrong track. They don't know how close they are going towards that target. So that's really, really important. And all of this, especially the second phase, which is demonstrate, comes with one skill and one skill only, that is repetition. Go crazy on repetition. Don't just show them once expecting it's enough. You've got to demonstrate until you're comfortable. And this is where we go step number 3. Once you've documented a certain procedure, once you've demonstrated it, once you role played it in your team, it's then time to what we call duplicate. Duplicate means that your team has now the capacity and capability to see what great looks like, to be able to provide the results with patients or whatever, if it's a CA or the way they answer the phone, consistently and effectively, because that's then the beautiful thing. And that's where you can start stepping away and watch your business grow. It's not to say people still don't have feedback loops and you don't do role play, but you might have people that do the role play for you, and you kind of get just reports and say, hey, how did the training go with the chiropractors last week? Yeah, great. This person's struggling a little bit on how to handle objections about the results, therefore we did this. So amazing. You have literally duplicated yourself and you're able to step away from the business, but the tasks, these flows from documenting to demonstrating to duplicating, are still part of the business. Your job is to give real life feedback, is to be reported by, and then this is what I find the best clinic owners do. They don't just work on the business, they build systems that provide consistent results, regardless if they're in the business or not. I know this is how most businesses practice in the UK. I know this might be slightly overwhelming for some of you, but on the most simplistic level, every single thing in your business can actually be taught, demonstrated, and duplicated. Therefore, there is no reason for any of you to feel stressed, burnt out, overwhelmed, and tired, or too busy all the time. And you've got two choices really when you watch these videos. You can say, you know what, I'm going to stay stuck in the same cycle and I'm going to do everything myself, and that's fine. Or I'm going to start implementing this model. I'm going to spend an hour today or an hour this week studying these things that Stefan teaches us, and I can grow my clinic and the clinic can grow itself without me, even if I'm not technically doing everything myself. And this is how the top clinic owners work. Literally the first thing I noticed when I opened the business was, who can I get help from and just duplicate what they have done? What does success look like? And it's the same thing. If your team doesn't know what success looks like, they're not going to be able to do it to the standard you expect them to. So there is so much to say about these simple 3Ds. But if you want more help, if you want to know how to apply this and how much more deep we go into this, just drop in the comments below, click on the link somewhere in the video section, and there will be a link where we literally can sit down and we can have a chat. And if I can help you, great. I would love to work with you. The reason why I'd love to work with you is because I believe that clinics should never struggle to help patients. But what happens when you open a clinic is you start worrying about the bills, about how do I get more new patients, the cancellations, how do I hire staff, how do I keep staff, all these things that to me nowadays may seem simple, but only because I've kind of made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot of lessons, and kind of rose above the challenges. And now I can say it's simple to scale to 7 figures. 5 years ago, it was impossible. So if an idiot like me can do it, so can you. Thank you for watching, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe if you found these videos helpful. If you think we can help you, or if you think you want to explore this a bit further, book a free discovery call. We'll have a chat. I can't promise I can help you because obviously we have a certain criteria that the type of clinics we work with, we want really people that actually want to be helped. But if I cannot help you, I'll still try to provide some value. And thank you for watching. Until